Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Williams. This is the progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. Remember, you can also send me a tweet to EGBERTOWILLIES. That is, at Egberto Williams. Let us engage. It is politics done right.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics Done Right. I'm Egberto Williams, your host. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. We are going to have a great show today. But before we get the show, I have to bring umbrage to Lupita. Lupita, how are you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing good. Just had a nice late lunch, and now I'm energized.
Now you're energized. But Lupita, I came in here, and what's first thing you tell me? Like, I am sitting down here going through my notes, and I just ordered me some food. And what? Not DoorDash. What's the one that you use? Postmates coming to bring. Like, what's wrong with you millennials? Don't you know?
I didn't want to drive.
Hey, you could walk.
I had three different apps. I have Uber Eats, DoorDash, and Postmates.
Man, I tell you. And I have my left leg, my right leg, and my car. Anyhow, folks, we are going to have a great show today. Hey, I hope you enjoyed Brother Evans. I hadn't listened to the show Brother Evans did for me yesterday, but I know he's always good. I looked at him and I said, just remember, I love our audience and be kind to our audience. And I am sure my brother Evans did just that. Anyhow, folks, look, we're going to have a great show. Before I even get started, I want to tell you guys something. It's voting all over the country today. In a lot of these states, it's voting. Folks, if you have not yet voted, please go and vote. I'm going to talk a little bit for the blog of the week, something that Zerlina Maxwell had to say on her show. I'm going to have to pull it up here, but I think it's important. Now, I know a lot of folks are going to say, I don't have any reason to vote. And you know what? I'm going to say something that is completely wrong, but it's true. I understand. I genuinely understand when a lot of people say that, and we are going to discuss some of that today on this great voting day in Texas, in Harris County, in Virginia, in Alabama, in Mississippi. Folks, wherever you are, if there is some voting to do, go to the voting polls and to the voting booth and select the best option you have, but vote. And then going forward for 2020, we're going to talk out about really making your vote count, where you are going to go out there and you're going to actively participate in making sure the right people are going to be the ones that are running. I know a lot of people are saying right now, I don't have any reason to vote because I don't like anybody. Well, you know what? A lot of these folks were picked along the way, and you had no input in that, but you can have input going forward. So go vote and vote to the best option today. Please go vote. And the great thing about KPFT 90.1 FM is that, our new manager, Jack, said, hey, Mike Honig and Egberto Willies, you guys are going to be in the studio at between 7 and 11 o'clock because we, KPFT 90.1 FM Houston, will be the only local FM station carrying the vote totals and carrying the interviews and talking to folks from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. Man, Lupita, I'm going to be sleepy going home, man.
Well, what better people to host election night than you and Mike Honig?
We're going to have some fun. We're going to have some fun because it's going to be a good election night. So, folks, please tune in. 90.1 FM, KPFT 90.1 FM, Houston. Don't forget to tune in. And, if you tune in online or wherever you tune in, don't also forget, this is your only real, and notice I said real station out here. So please remember to go ahead and go to that website and click I want to keep KPFT alive, so I'm going to give these guys a few of my pennies to ensure that we can do that. Anyhow, there's something else I want to say. I want to talk about voting. I wanted to talk about us being on air, and I can't remember what else I wanted to have as a preamble, so I'll go into the show. Title of the show today, Progressives Are Not Left-Wing Ideas, or Progressive Ideas Are Not Left-Wing. That accusation is a fraud on America. So remember that, folks. The easiest way to shut down a discussion is to go ahead and say, you are so left-wing. That's a left-wing idea. Don't buy it. It's usually something to stop what's happening. Okay? So let's be clear on that. So anyhow, title of the show, Progressive Ideas Are Not Left-Wing Ideas. That accusation is a fraud on America. Subtitle is, folks, it is a trick. Call ideas by progressives left-wing, and what immediately occurs is you put them in a box. It is a calculated fraud imposed by the Plutocrats. And you guys hear me talk about Plutocrats, and some of you get tired of hearing me saying Plutocrats and corporatocracy and those words. I know, I really know, because it's repetitious. But you know what I learned from the right wing, Lupita? The right wing lies a lot, right? And what they know how to do is that even though people get tired of hearing the same right-wing lies, they repeat it over and over and over. If you listen to Trump talk, Trump repeats the same thing over and over. No collusion, no collusion, no collusion,
right?
No collusion. And we are tired of hearing it. We are in the know, but he says it all the time. And, we sit down, and because we are news junkies or we listen to news, I know you have to go do buy list and all that good stuff, but because we're news junkies, right, we listen to it all the time. And for us, meaningless. But every time Donald Trump says, what Donald Trump knows about marketing is every time he says no collusion, there is a new set of people that had never heard him before say no collusion. So if he says no collusion hundreds of thousands of times throughout this time, all the people that didn't hear it yesterday, the day before, and all these other days, they're hearing it. So my brothers and my sisters, what I'm trying to tell you is the president knows what he's doing when he's repetitious, when he says perfect conversation. It was a perfect conversation with the president of Ukraine. It was a perfect conversation of the president. You know why he's saying that every time? Because he knows every time he is on TV, there is a new set of listeners that he hadn't had before that will hear it the very first time out of his own mouth. So I ask you to accept my repetition from the correct side. When you hear it all the time, don't just say, Derek, better to go again with that damn corporatocracy and that damn plutocracy and that. Because we reach a large audience, and we want, every time we have a new set, it's coming in. Of course, we bring new things in all the time, but the repetitious things we'll have as well. So I beg your understanding. I beg that you guys stay with us, and I beg that you follow us. And don't forget, politicsdoneright.com, kpft.org. These are all places that you can get good info. Anyway, if we allow the left-wing moniker on progressive ideas to remain, we cede power to those offering nothing. Nada. Niet. Okay? So therefore, don't forego your ideas because of that fear that it's left-wing that they will say. Okay. Bernie Sanders calls himself a socialist, but in Europe, he would be considered center-right. The same applies to Elizabeth Warren, and she calls herself a capitalist. Labels, labels, labels. Here is the deal. I rather err in favor of policies than labels. And guess what? What these two politicians stand for is closer to what Americans want than what centrists, moderates, conservatives, and right-wingers are trying to impose on us. It is time for us to take back the narrative. It is absolutely time for us to take back the narrative. Do not accept what's imposed on you. Do not have that fear that you are not going to go for the wants of people because you're fearing how it's going to be referenced as left wing, how it's going to be referenced as you're out there, man. You know, Bernie Sanders can't win. All of that kind of stuff. I mean, the young people are getting it. The young people are getting it. The ones that are not getting it yet are the older folks who are the ones who need these concepts. These young people have a long life ahead of them. A lot of the old folks, if we don't get our act together, remember, if we don't take care of these young people, these are the people that are going to be passing policies going forward. And if we want their policies that these young people pass going forward to take us into consideration, maybe we should consider taking them into considerations as we have new policies going forward. Reciprocity, but I like to generally call it simple humanity. We don't even need reciprocity. We just need a little bit of humanity. But anyhow, folks, before I get into the program, I want to remind all our listeners that KPFT is a bastion of intelligent voices and programs. As a political activist myself, my favorites are, guess what? Think Wing Radio with
Mike Honig on Mondays at 3 p.m.
And guess what? Mike is going to be here tonight in studio with me between 7 and 11, and we're going to have a great show. Anyhow, Open Journal with
Dwayne Bradley and crew on Mondays at 6 p.m.
And then, of course, there's one of the favorites out here, La Música Maestro, Jazz Latino, Afro-Cuban Latin Jazz at its very best, hosted by
Juan Flores, and occasionally me, because, I work sometimes, so I get here a little late, but still me.
And who's me?
Lupita.
Lupita. Hey.
That's Tuesdays at 12 noon to 2 p.m.
Look, I'm going to stop here for a second and say this. Did you hear what Lupita just said? Sometimes she works elsewhere, but Lupita finds the time to volunteer at KPFT and be a part of this family. Think about that, folks. Lupita is a millennial. No, you're below a millennial. Are you a millennial?
Honestly, I get confused
You're
with the terms
because
some people say I am not. I don't know. I was born in 96.
You're Gen Z. I think you're Gen Z, man. I think so, but I could be wrong. But I think you're Gen Z. But anyhow, but this is the important thing. You're here. You could be anywhere. You could be out there. A lot of young people. I'm going to bed. I finished, got out of work. I'm coming. Lupita comes here and she does something positive for society. The fact that she's right now the engineer for Politics Done Right, I'm honored. Thank you so kindly for being here.
It's my pleasure being here always.
There you go. So what I'm saying, folks, volunteering is an important thing. We should all start thinking about what can we do to make this a better place? What can we do to make this a better society? Anyhow, Jenner Asian Radio, a weekly program featuring an eclectic mix of Asian underground, Bagra, Bollywood, funk, Hindi, Rai, where ancient sounds meet future beats. And when is that again?
It's right after this show from 4 to 6 p.m.
And I'll be listening to this right here in studio because I am going to have to stick around till 7 to 11. Man, I don't have a life today, man. But anyhow, it's going to be great. We're going to have a good time bringing to the Houston audience all the results from the election. So, folks, please remember to tune in at KPFT 90.1 FM or go to kpft.org where you can live stream it from your phone, your iPhone, anything, your Google, your Pixel, whatever. And don't also forget, if you are into a little bit of something, say, hey, we want to keep KPFT alive and we're going to throw a few pennies your way. Anyhow, check out our full schedule at kpft.org where you can find programming from music to politics to medicine to the eclectic. KPFT is a listener-supported public community radio station. So please, 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 please remember that if you like what you hear, visit kpft.org and ensure we remain a strong, viable community radio station that provides news, programming, and information not influenced by whom?
The corporatocracy.
Here we go with that word again, the corporatocracy. We are not influenced. I mean, if you listen to MSNBC, CBS, ABC, they're good reporters here. They're darn good reporters here. They know what they're doing. But they have limitations. They have this thing called advertising. And it's not like advertising on a website. On advertising on a website, they throw their ads on your website, but you don't have any. They don't have any recourses to tell you what you can and cannot say. They don't like it. They just have to pull it from a bunch of websites, and they don't bother doing that. But when you're on TV, folks, you have all those news stories. They're advertising medicines, they're advertising drugs, they're advertising hospitals, they're advertising all these things. Do you really think these guys have latitude to do that? Do you think they really have latitude to be objective? They try. Like I said, there are good reporters at all these stations. Even Fox News they have good reporters, but they don't have choices. They don't have choices, and that's why you need the independent media. That is why you need the KPFTs. That is why you need the Politics Done Right. That is why you need the Think Wing radios. That is why you need all these things, my friends. That is why. So let's remember that as we go forward. But I'm going to take calls early today. So give us a call at 713-526-5738. Again, that is 713-526-5738. The blog of the week is very short. 713-526-5738. So folks, do you know what time it is?
It's time for the weekly blog post.
Earlier, I mentioned that mainstream media, whether it's be MSNBC, CBS, ABC, they have their restrictions, CNN, all of them, because they take a whole lot of money they have to keep up all that good equipment, to be able to send people all over the world and do the reports that they do. They have to collect money. But in doing so and having these ads, they have themselves become a part of the corporatocracy, in as much as they try to be as objective as possible. Every now and then you find folks out there that really get their message out, even though it's not necessarily so. Telephone on. So here's the thing. Zerlina Maxwell, I have a whole lot of admiration for that woman on MSNBC. And the reason why is because, again, she does her work, she does her homework. So the title of the blog of the week is Pundit Zerlina Maxwell poses an important question to Democrats they better heed. And it goes as follows. MSNBC pundit Zerlina Maxwell admonishes the Democratic Party and the corporate mainstream media for positing the wrong question about who will bring victory to the party. She has been pushing the narrative for a long time, and one hopes the party will take heed sooner than later. Maxwell points out a flaw in the thinking of the Democratic Party relative to which groups they target aggressively. Doing this wrong could be fatal. You don't get this right, it will be fatal. MSNBC's Katie Tur pointed out that even with all the headwinds Donald Trump is facing with impeachment and more, he's doing fairly well in the battleground states. She asked Zerlina Maxwell if Democrats should be terrified of that reality. Maxwell responded that she was not scared, but that some fear is a good thing. No one should think they have the win in the bag. Nobody should think they have the win in the bag. So, Zerlina went much further with an important narrative. She said, there is something happening. There is something happening right now, not only in the media, but also on the Democratic side, where we are asking a question that is just completely based on the wrong premise. Zerlina said, and the premise is basically, how do we win back those voters who voted for Donald Trump, who voted for Obama? How do we get them back, right? Maxwell then pointed out the short-sightedness of that premise. That is a false premise, Maxwell continued. I am not saying that you are not going to try to get some of those voters back. But there was a 7% drop-off in black turnout from 2012 to 2016. Those people will vote for you, but you have to give them a reason. So the question is not, do I want to vote for Trump or this Democrat? It is, do I want to vote or stay home? Many regular voting Democrats tend to slam those who don't vote. I have been known to do so many times myself. But on deeper thinking, I realize that many times we just seek the vote of some of our or of some for our self-interest, denying support for policies those non-voters would want. Worse, too many times we ask them to vote even as we ask them to wait in perpetuity. When we understand these realities, we will be better able to connect not only to the chronic non-voter, but to the voter we lost. We have some time to fix the problem. But if that time is spent trying to manage this election away from the base, we will pay dearly at the polls. We will pay dearly at the polls. Okay, let's go to línea número uno. Line number one. Are we having a little phone problems, I guess? Okay, line number one.
Hello.
Yeah, come on in, sir.
Hey, this is Tori.
Hey,
How's it going, man?
Hey, talk to me, my brother. Talk to me.
Hey, I just wanted, and before I make a comment on your theme of the day, I just want to invite everybody out Sunday to the Houston Peace and Justice Center Awards Dinner, where they're going to have some special guests.
Yes.
The new head of Harris County, Hidalgo.
Yes.
And Roxana Dunbar Ortiz, and somebody, one of those DJs down at KPFT, one of those talk show guys that does politics done right. And so that's Sunday. I think it's, 6 o'clock or so, Houston Peace and Justice Center Awards.
Yes.
Look it up on the interwebs. And now to my comment. Basically, we need to take back these words from the right wing. Things like left wing and
Tori,
socialism. Bernie does a pretty good job of that.
Hold on a second.
Trying to explain his version of social. Hello?
Hold on a second. I want to invite more people to call in because you're the only one so far. Folks, I know there were some phone problems. I think it's taken care of. Give us a call at 713-526-5738. All lines are available. 713-526-5738. Go ahead, Tori. Sorry to interrupt you.
Well, as a word guy and a poet, I study language, and words only have the meaning that we give to them.
Excellent.
And over time, if you look back in time, words change meaning.
Yes.
And sometimes they can have the opposite meaning as when they started out a few hundred years ago. And then we can redefine words.
Right.
We can take words that were used as insults and wear them as points of pride.
Right.
The hippies did that in the 60s.
Right.
People call them, freaks. Say, hey, yeah, we're freaks, man. Let's raise our freak flag. And so we can repair words that have been damaging. And, when Trump uses words like socialism as an insult, we need to use socialism as, in a positive context. We need to push back. We can't just give them the language. But that being said, in social science, it's important to use neutral words that mean the same thing to different ears. Many words are dog whistles, coded nomenclature for ideological camps.
Right.
And class analysis is important, and it's the disconnection between what the vested interest of both parties, want to shove down our throats, and the policy that we actually need. Anyway, that's all I got to say.
But let me tell you something. You hit the nail on the head, right? I think it is so important for us to work. Now, let me tell you something that I do on a personal note. I live in a very red area, and I still engage everybody in that red area, and I do it methodically. I do it intentionally. And what I do is, you mentioned earlier about labels. I make sure to refrain from the labels until they have gotten a certain kind of trust in me, and then I would then in their minds clean up the label as far as they think it is concerned. In other words, we would go. I had a story that I think I tell it several times where. By the time I was done with a woman on Medicare for All, she was all in until she realized that what I described was Medicare for All. She was all in. Even after the conversation, she was all in, but she was concerned about the name. And she's like, so why don't they change the name? I mean, it is that kind of stuff that we're talking about right now, Tori. So, I mean, what I said, as you notice from the title of the show, is we have to make sure, and we don't have much time, we can't allow the humane policies that we want to pass to be called left. It is funny Because what we're telling folks is, in order to help you, or rather, because you call this idea left wing, you should do without. Because you think it's a left wing idea, because somebody else told you it was, even though it's good for you, do without. It's ridiculous. And that is something I think it is on us. I think it is on us. What we do a lot of times on the left is cower. Oh, they're going to call it a left-wing idea, so let's start in the middle and move from there. No, we have to stop that. Thank you so kindly for the call, Terry.
Okay, have a good one.
You too, my friend.
See you soon.
All right.
See you Sunday.
See you on Sunday. All right, let's go ahead. Line numero 2. Come on in, line number 2.
Me?
Yes, that's you, Scott.
Oh, yeah, I'm Scott.
Okay, Scott, before you go.
I've been a Democrat for some 50 years, and I've always found the Democratic constituency permeated with a culture of conditional commitment to voting. I grew up with the idea of voting in every election, no matter what.
Yes. I mean, I think it's important for us to get that, but I'm going to tell you something that Zerlina kind of alluded to. But before that, since I have wide open lines, I want to invite other people to call. 713-526-5738. Again, folks, that is 713-526-5738. I want to hear from all our audience out there. I want to hear from women, men, everybody. Give us a call.
The first time I voted for a Democrat for president was in 1968, and I heard people threatening not to vote for Humphrey.
Right.
After he was nominated. I thought that was a terrible idea.
Well, let me tell you one thing, Scott, and I think this is important. Folks, 713-526-5738. If you guys don't want a very long monologue, which I'm very capable of doing, give us a call at 713-526-5738. The phones are kind of quiet right now, and I know you guys love to call in. Where are our peeps? I know you hadn't run. We're not in Fun Drive, guys. 713-526-5738. Okay, Scott. Let me tell you, I understand. I want folks to go out and vote every single time. I vote every single time. I came to this country in 1979. I am not sure. I don't think. I could be wrong, but I do not believe I've ever missed an election, because that's how much I cherish the vote. Now, if I missed an election, it's because it's one of those quiet elections that I quite didn't know about. All right, but here's the deal. I understand now. At first, I would sit back and just demean people who didn't vote, right? And then I realized something after one of my friends started to put down the people who didn't vote. First, she accused me of, hey, you're talking against the party and you're going to depress the vote on XYZ. And I accepted that. But I said, you know what? We have to be able to move a party forward. If you're going to talk about a party, if it's for constructive criticism, it's good. But then I continued to listen, right? And it was like, if we keep doing this, Trump is going to be the president again. And if Trump is the president again, we're not going to get these particular policies that she wanted. And I understood that too. And then I said, yeah, you're right. And then, we need Medicare for all, because there are all these people out there that needs these services. And her answer to me, Scott, was, no, but Medicare for all can't pass. And not only that, I like my insurance. And, she bought the line. So I'm sitting back there and I'm thinking, a lot of people that are asking others to go out and vote, right? Those people who don't vote that Democratic ticket that should have voted, they sit back down and they say, why didn't they vote? It's the reason that Trump is there. For a lot of those people, whether it's Trump or Biden, it doesn't really mean a difference. But to my friend, if it's Biden or Trump, it does mean a difference. So what I'm saying here is something important that I specified in a blog that I hope people understood. And it goes as follows. Many people that are asking all these people to come out and vote are at the same time telling those same people, but the policies that you want, we're not really for it. We want you to vote so that the policies that we get would be fine. And since you're on our team, vote for it because it's going to give me that policy. But the reciprocity within intra-party many times is not there. The intra-party reciprocity is many times not there. And that is something to look at. Go ahead, Scott.
Well, I have not decided how I'm voting in the primary, but I do know I'm supporting the Democratic nominee, and as soon as I'm sure who this will be, I will start making donations. And in the past, I think I've seen threatening not to vote as a way to manipulate Democratic nominees, and this is after the nomination.
Right.
And I don't think that's good.
Well, no, I don't think you should threat. I mean, it's not about a threat, but what I do think...
Well, it's often like people will not... a leader says, my people will not vote unless, and it's not that the speaker threatens not to vote, but talks about other people out there.
I got you. Look, I appreciate your call, Scott. You're wonderful. You keep voting. You keep supporting candidates that you know are going to go do the right thing. And also, thank you for being a KPFT supporter. You have a wonderful day, my friend.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Okay, let's go. Line number 1. Joe, come on in, Joe. And folks, we still have open line, 713-526-5738. Please don't wait till the end of the show and then call in and say, oh, you're only giving me a small amount of time. 713-526-5738. Come on in, Joe.
Hey, yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you completely. It's all about policy. It needs to be about policy and educated voter.
Right.
You know, and I think today, I think more so than ever, I think you're getting more people that are paying attention to policy. And I think a lot of mainstream media and politicians and all that, they don't really want that. You know, They want the warm and fuzzy Joe Biden. And, you know, no. Listen to what Bernie Sanders is saying. You know, it's all about the policy.
Well, you know, I mean, Joe, I'm glad that you said that because, I mean, I think, you know, there are many times that we voted for the best option, right? And that's why I try to explain to people. There are so many Democrats who continuously vote that best option. And what happens then is they realize that that best option was for, a particular group of people. But somehow it never trickled down to them. And I don't mean trickled. I'm talking about policy again. So if you want somebody's vote, as Zerlina Maxwell said in that piece, give them something to vote for. Because, you know, the status quo for them ain't all that bad. To tell you the truth, the status quo for all those people that are screaming many times is a lot worse than these people who already have nothing. They know what it's like to live with nothing. You don't.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Joe.
Yep, I agree.
Anything else you want to add, sir?
No, sir, that's it. Thank you.
Okay, you have a wonderful day. Folks, telephone number 713-526-5738. We're lean on calls today. Folks, go out there and vote. We have wide open lines now, 713-526-5738. Lupita, I think this is the first time ever that Politics Done Right has had it where there are absolutely no callers on.
I know,
So,
I'm shocked, but maybe is
They're
the optimistic.
voting.
Yes, they're voting. That's why they're
voting.
not calling.
That's why they're not calling. They're voting. 713-526-5738 is the number to call in. And you're getting onto the show. You are not getting, you're not going to be going to Pledge Central because that is over for now. So you'll get to actually talk. But anyhow, since the topic that I really wanted to talk about today was not allowing folks to frame things as left wing. And that is important because what's occurring right now, it is in order for you to vote against your own interests, somebody has to convince you, phones on, somebody has to convince you that that thing that we are telling you is in your interest is left wing. It's not good for you, and all of that. And the reason they do that is because of that pathology we have with a whole lot of folk right now, with a whole lot of our plutocracy, if you will, that is the way they see things. Let me get to Derek. And another call's coming in too. See, I knew just calling out my folks, they will come. All right, come on in, Derek.
Good afternoon. I early voted, but I just have a quick question.
Yes, sir.
And I hope it's not a dumb question.
No question is a dumb question in politics, and right.
Given how our courts are being loaded with bucket loads of judges that really aren't qualified, are we stuck with them, or can they be, or is there any way for them to be removed?
Okay, a judge can be removed. I don't know the exact manner. I don't remember the exact manner constitutional, Texas constitutional. I think you're talking about Harris County judges or national judges.
I'm talking national. How Trump is
what
loading,
Trump has done
is loading the courts, and a lot of these people are not even qualified. Given that they're not qualified, can they be removed, or are we stuck with them?
No, they can be removed. It's difficult, but they can be removed. And the thing about it is, in fact, we've removed them before, okay? It's called impeachment. Just like the president can be impeached, judges can be impeached. And what I try to tell people is something that is rather simple, right? People think, whenever people start to think impeachment, they think, oh, it requires a whole lot, three-fourths, I think is what the Constitution says, 6 or 7, whatever that is, to impeach somebody. And they're right about that. But what I'm saying is that things are so bad right now, Derek, that we should be able going forward in elections to come out with supermajorities with good guys. When I say good guys, I mean women and men. We should be able to come out with supermajorities in the Senate. We don't need supermajorities in the Congress, but we should be able, if we get that in the Senate, we're likely going to get that in the Congress as well. And we should be able to do that and then correct the wrong that has been done. You are so correct. We have judges that don't even know the law. There's a judge that he was so bad that Trump sent in, not even Republicans would vote for him. Anything else you want to add, Derek?
No, that's it for now. I appreciate it.
Thank you so kindly. But yes, the answer to your question is judges can be removed. They can be impeached. And once they're impeached, they're out of there. Thank you so kindly, my friend.
And thank you, too. You have a great day.
Have a wonderful day. Okay, let's go to Mike. Before Mike comes in, though, I want to tell you folks, after Mike, we have empty line 713-526-5738, 713-526-5738. Load them up. Come on in, Mike.
Yeah, I wanted to say is that I'm worried that I'm a Democrat. I'm liberal. And I worry, though, that if we take, get the presidency in the House and the Senate, if we did that, we would just run the table for 2 years or 4 years, and then we would have the same situation we have now where the Democrats and the Republicans just don't cooperate. They can't do it. It seems like we've got to pick some Democrats that can work across the aisle and start building some bridges so we can get Democrats and Republicans, making laws.
I used to be with you 100%. In fact, let me just give you a little bit about the kind of work that I do. I work with the Coffee Party USA, which is a group that tries to do exactly what you say, bring people together, central thoughts, etc. And I just got back from D.C. With what's called the Bridge Alliance. And in the Bridge Alliance, that is what we try to do. We try to build these bridges that you're talking about. So you are absolutely right. But more than bringing Democrats into power, we have to get right-wing crazies out. There are very good Republicans out there. I have a 45-minute interview I did in D.C. last week with a Republican. Okay? I love this guy. I'm going to play that interview sometime on Politics Done Right. But first of all, you're absolutely 100% correct. Being a liberal, having progressive ideas do not foreclose a conservative Republican voting for it, as long as he knows, she knows they have input into the legislation. That is how it used to be as well, Mike.
Right.
And so we can get there. I am with you, but I think we have to be at first punitive with those, what I call the evildoers. I think we have to be punitive on that side so that it isn't something that, as you say, is repeated over and over again. Anything else you want to add, Senor Mike?
No, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so kindly, and you have a wonderful day. Another line just rang. Okay, let's go to Julia. Come on in, Julia.
Hello?
Yes, you're on, Julia.
Yes. I had a comment about labels. You were saying we need to get rid of labels like right-wing, left-wing. I think it's not a matter of labeling. It's a matter of what you associate with the label. I have been in situations where if you teach people, like if you don't mind being called progressive, why do you mind being called left-wing? If people have a negative connotation, you can change that to a positive one. We need to own who we are. And I think that's part of the problem. We shy away when Republicans point a finger at us and we go, oh, maybe we need to stop to change. No, they don't change.
First of all, Julia, I am 100% with you. I don't think what I said, labels. If you read the context of the blog that I said, it's the same thing that in fact, it's in the title of the program. It echoes exactly what you say. We have to stop allowing them to use the term left label as meaning something bad for you.
Yeah, exactly. We need to educate the public to the fact that it's not bad. And we need to own it and be proud of it. When you shy away, that's when people tend to point a finger at you, and because they know it triggers you.
You know, let me tell you something. You are so right. You know, Donald Trump is the crudest, most ineloquent person there is on the planet, but he does it with gusto. He does it, and he's proud of it. And
yes.
And by doing that, wrong, strong, and proud, people actually perceive him as strong. And even though deep inside they know the realities, I had a conversation with a group of Republicans at the gym on Monday, and it was funny because these are very smart engineers. One is an engineer, one is a stockbroker, one is I don't remember what, okay? And these are smart people, phone ringing. These are smart people. And they are very smart people, and they still could... the phone's ringing. They still couldn't go ahead and just come to the fold and say, hey, there's something wrong with this guy, and it just shows exactly what you were saying. Okay.
Yes.
So I'm with you. Anything else you want to add, Julia?
No, that's it.
Thank you so kindly for your call, Julia. Is this the first time you called the show?
No, actually.
Okay, great. You have a wonderful...
You too. Thank you so much.
You have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Okay, line number 2. Come on in. You're on. Line number 2. Yes. What's your name?
David.
David, talk to me.
Thanks, brother. I'm not 100% on the... Because, well, you see labels as part of...
You're kind of breaking up, David. Can you kind of stay in a location where we have a fixed sound? You're still breaking up. I can't hear you.
I guess I'm going to have to call.
Yeah, call back, and then we'll put you in the head of the queue. Let me go to MOD, and then I'll come back to you, okay? So call back. All right, MOD, come on in.
Hello.
You're here, MOD.
Hey.
Talk to me.
Yeah. It's okay. I'm used to it. So
you're used to what?
I'm always tickled. I get on sometimes, like once every 10 calls that I get on, in queue. But I'll take what I can get.
Okay, Modi. Yeah. Come on in, my friend. Talk to me.
Cool. So what's the difference? If Tom Perez hasn't come out of his cave since he's been put in that position for the head of the DNC.
Mm-hmm.
Since he was put in, what's going on, or what's the difference? I mean, who wants Donald Trump elected more than Tom Perez?
Look, Tom Perez has been all over the country. Tom Perez, yes, he has been all over the country. I follow him. Come on, I know the guy. Okay,
but what does he do? What has
he's out there pushing? Tom Perez is out there pushing the establishment Democratic Party line. He's a Biden guy, and they're pushing that line. Okay? Look, not because I disagree with Tom Perez, I'm going to disparage Tom Perez. He's doing what he thinks he's supposed to do for the Democratic Party. Now,
but what's the Democratic Party, Roberto?
And that's what I'm about to tell you, my dear friend. And Stephen, I'm coming to you next. MOD, you asked the right question. What is the Democratic Party? You asked.
Well, I would say they're capitalists. And the only narrative I hear is what you're backing is like the Justice Democrats would be more of this new order, what would be the Sustainable Development kiddies.
Well,
there's nothing between the AOCs and the establishment, as I'm trying to say. All progressives are taken out like Bernie was taken out by Hillary for the establishment. And now what's left? I would think we had that's what it's called, a populist platform in 2016.
Mm-hmm.
This platform we're seeing that's coming with the Democratic now is identity, Roberto, meaning there are 12 candidates that have each identity for the voter, and that's aspiracy. And then what Tom Perez did with the super delegates when they made a decision, if out of those 12 candidates, if one of those don't get 51%, they're going to bring in the super delegates.
Yeah.
And so what's that going to do is when those 1,600 super delegates are heading in to vote, who's going to be calling those people? Every K Street, ALAC. I mean,
MOD, you're not telling us anything in that regards, I don't think, my friend. But here's what I have to tell you, right? And this is what I tell Americans, and I tell not only Democrats, I tell Republicans, everybody in between. We fall down on the job. There is still one person, one vote. That's what we have to this date.
What we have to do is quit allowing people interrupting people like that guy was in Malibu when he was asking Gifford, why are y'all going to do the same thing y'all did to Bernie again? And then the DNC for that town stands up and interrupts.
Yeah.
Hijacks.
Let me tell you, first, look, MOD, none of this stuff is fair. None of it's going to be fair. I'm not
saying fair. I'm saying there's no intention to change it.
Look, I understand that. And they have no reason or intentionality to change it from some sort of a neoliberal type organization.
Right, but
let me finish. MOD, I gave you a chance to talk. MOD, I gave you all the chance to talk. All right, here we go. The reality is this, sir. Progressives have got to take it. And with all the barriers that they're going to put in front of progressives, they simply have got to go out there and work it and take it. And who allows them to take it? The masses that they encourage to follow them. It's difficult, but it's work.
One use case of someone trying to do that.
I gotta go to another call, okay, MOD. But here's the deal. Thank you so kindly. All right. Let's go to David. Stephen, I got to go to David because this is the second time around. And then I'm coming to you, so hang around, Stephen. All right, come on in, David.
Hey, brother, I got another phone.
Yes.
Okay, so what you were saying about labels.
Yes.
Well, here's the problem with that. Identity is a necessary element to establish the essence of what we represent.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't necessarily mind being called left-wing. Look at it this way, Humberto. Are you familiar with nautical terms?
Yes, I am.
Like port side and starboard side?
Yes.
Okay, well, if you're in an airplane or a boat and you're facing toward the bow of the vessel, the left wing is on the port side and the right wing is on the starboard side.
Right.
But guess what? They're both attached to the fuselage. We have this thing called bilateral symmetry.
Right.
And in order for the balance to be achieved, they both have to have the equal amount of influence on the system.
Right, the balance must be right, yes.
So if somebody wants to call me left wing, I say fine. I'm in the hell if I'm a left wing. Just like the fact that I've had this problem with me being an atheist.
Yeah.
I don't like the term atheist because it's too negative.
David, if I may interrupt you because I understand what you're saying, and I was talking to Julia in the last statement, please don't misunderstand where I'm talking about labels. I am not trying to get rid of labels. I'm trying to make sure that labels are not defined incorrectly. In other words, if you take a look at the title of the blog post, you'll see that it says we have to stop allowing the plutocracy to say left wing, and immediately people think it is not something for their interests. We have to make sure that that isn't the case. So read the blog, and actually for my daily course Sunday, that's what I'm going to do.
Because I don't have access to it, but I understand what you're saying. When you weaponize stuff like that,
right?
You could use it to perjure people to vilify them, and that's part of your game.
There you go, David. David, I got to go to Stephen. Thank you so kindly for calling in, my brother. And after Stephen, we have call 713-526-5738. I can probably take a couple more after Stephen. Okay, come on in, Stephen.
Hey, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Hey, man, lovely show, lovely discussion.
Thank you.
My sister is a superdelegate and a secretary for the DNC here in Galveston. So I'm pretty involved in it in my own way. You know, I do whatever I want. But, you know, I guess it's a question I asked myself last night. I mean, you know, by the time, here's what crossed my mind. By the time that all this, the impeachment trial is over, they go through all this judiciary, all the branches, whatever, you know, his term's going to be up.
Yes.
And so what's the difference anyway? I mean, I can't see possibly how Trump will get reelected.
Well, actually,
but I didn't think so before.
Right. Let me say something, okay? If Democrats do the right thing, if Democrats go progressive, and when I say if Democrats go fearlessly, listen to what I'm saying.
I am fearless, brother.
Yeah. If Democrats go fearlessly, and the rank and file, not only the rank and file Democrats, but those people that are in the nooks and crannies, finally see somebody that's going to work for them, that's going to give them policy that supports them. There's a reason why Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders are at the top. And right now you have Biden holding the fear vote. Biden is not...
Right. That's a good way of putting it.
Biden is holding on to the fear vote. Elizabeth Warren,
and that's a good way of putting it, because I mean, even within my family, you know, we're kind of divided within our candidates, which one we want, you know, Biden or Sanders or Warren, you know, it's a daily discussion.
People are scared. They're genuinely scared.
I ain't scared.
I am not either. But what I'm saying, they're petrified that Trump gets another term. What then happens to the environment? What then happens to the water? You know, what we have to do is, when Elizabeth Warren went into Appalachia, she went into West Virginia, and she started talking to those people. Those people were captivated. We don't do that. We go out, we lose before we lose. Progressives lose before they even lose. They don't go out there.
I've noticed that too.
They don't go out there and let me tell you, I'm a talker, okay? Everywhere. There you go,
I'm
brother.
not a radical though, but I mean, it's like I'm totally in there.
I mean, let me tell you, I'm at the grocery store. If I hear something, I'm talking. I was in D.C. last week. I was with Republicans, Democrats, Independents, the whole works. I'm talking. I had an interview that was supposed to last 10 minutes. I had a 45-minute interview with a Republican on Politics Done Right in D.C. Okay, so I'm saying, we have to be, first of all, and you know what? I didn't have to change my values. I looked at him and I said, if you were to come closer to me, maybe I will somehow try to do, you know, see where I can give.
It's kind of hard for me to change my values, because you take one look at me, I'm a heavy metal, you know, rock and roller, you know, with
you go.
That's irrelevant.
No, but
I like a lot of your other callers. There's valiant points there, and you got a great show. I'm a first-time listener.
Look, first-time listener. Well, please remember to keep listening, and you know, go ahead and go to the show. Go to politicsdoneright.com and share. KPFT.org and always be a part.
My wife and I got other family.
It is so important. Let me tell you something. It is so important to do this. Let me tell you why it's important. Right now, there is an establishment of both parties that kind of work in concert. A lot of people don't like to believe that, but they kind of work in concert.
Yeah.
Okay? And the way they work is, think about this. Whenever somebody says, I want to pass this particular policy, the first thing that people ask is, how exactly is that going to... The first thing that they don't ask, the first thing they should ask is, how is that going to make life better for the average American citizen? Yeah. That's not what they ask. The first thing they ask is, how is that going to affect business? I want Americans to take a look at what we value first.
Right, and one of my favorite sayings is when I listen to, you know, either side, and, you know, maybe my wife will say, oh, da-da-da-da-da-da, he said that, they said this. I said, that don't confront me or us.
Right.
And that's, you know, I don't mean to sound selfish, maybe. But, and yeah, I'll vote on issues and all that. But I do look at things objectively in that manner.
Well, Stephen, look, thank you so kindly for calling in. Please keep listening. Please keep sharing that, and tell people about KPFT 90.1 FM.
Oh no, I'm on all the time. I just happened to catch you right now.
Absolutely. You have a wonderful day, my friend. You take care now.
You too, man. Drive safe.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Okay, folks, 713-526-5738. I probably can take another call, but while I don't have a call, I'll just go into my... Oh, there goes a phone ringing. I just said maybe I can take another call, and it rings. Okay, I'll take that call. Let's see. There you go. Come on in, my friend.
Yes, hope you can. Actually, I'm calling to confirm some tickets. I'm supposed to have a will call for this Sunday at Trail Center for the vet thing.
Yes, I was supposed to mention that earlier. Go ahead. Lupita, could you take this person's name and number, please? This is for...
Sure.
Lupita is going to take that from you, the name and number. Anyhow, folks, here is the deal. Here is the deal. I can take one more call, 713-526-5738, then I'll go in my monologue. 713-526-5738. Anyhow, I want everybody to start thinking positive about 2020. Yesterday on my show, the one that I do on YouTube and Facebook Live and the other, and Twitch and Periscope, a lot of people were calling in and saying they were scared. I'm going to take that call directly. I'm going to finish making this statement on the call. All right, come on in, caller. You're on. Caller, you're on.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I did want to get on the show if possible.
Yeah, go ahead. You're on. You're on, ma'am.
Hi.
Would you like to say something?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Hi. A couple of things. They're all pushing Joe Biden, and he will be a disaster.
Yes.
He has so much negative crap behind him, and, they're going to have so much stuff that they can run against him, and he's got no energy. He gets these debates, and he starts losing his train of thought. The man is, not fit at this point.
I think, let me tell you something. What is your name again?
Everyone's phones are like doing
What is your name?
Patty.
Patty, let me tell you, first of all, you hit the nail on the head. And I've been saying this from the time he started to run. I kept on saying, don't run. But it's an establishment candidate that they want. And the reason that they don't care whether he's competent or not. They just want him there because he's not going to do the progressive thing.
He won't change anything.
Exactly.
He'll suck up to the corporate companies and all of that.
Well, he's told
them that. And then the other person they're really pushing right now is Pete, and I can't say his last name. Buttigieg. Okay. Number one, he's gone totally corporate.
Right.
He's totally sucking up to the corporates. Number two, whether it's right or wrong, he is gay. And they won one of Bush's elections by fear-mongering against gays.
Right. Well, let me tell you. Let me tell you what I think about that. I just want to interrupt because I don't have much time. About gayness, about blackness, about all these things that people would look as a negative. I think going into a general election, if Democrats really want to make it a positive, they could. But you are correct in what you said about the corporatists in Buttigieg that's growing up. So that is what we got to stop.
Right.
I have a hard
stop
right now, Patty.
There's another reason
Patty, I don't have the time.
TYT investigative reporting.
Gotta go. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. And guess how we end this, baby? I am what? Out!
Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is the progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. Remember, you can also send me a tweet to EGBERTOWILLIES. That is, at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right.
1, 2, 3, 4.